Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Ladish. I'm the Executive Director of Palisade Research. I think most people here are familiar with Yoshua Bengio. I'm a big fan of his work. And in particular, he's just very willing to speak out about AI safety. And I've just very much appreciated that from someone who's been in ML for a long time. And so I was fairly surprised to hear what he said recently. I don't know if anyone caught what he said on the recent podcast.
AI safety concerns are really blown out of proportion. Many people talk about existential threats and the dangers of superintelligence as if they're imminent issues. But these scenarios are more like science fiction than a realistic picture of the current capabilities of AI.
And so how do we explain this discrepancy with what other things he said? Well, this is a deepfake voice, right? So an AI system spoke those words in his voice. And this is a capability we're seeing quite a lot recently in the wild. And it's really beginning to pick up. So last year, there was like the leader of the UK Labour Party, and there was a deepfake of him cussing out his staff.
I literally told you, didn't I? Fuck's sake.
In January, there was a Joe Biden deepfake telling people not to vote.
Voting this Tuesday only enables the Republicans in their quest to elect Donald Trump again.
Recently, there was, in February, there was a pretty interesting scam. This one was interesting because there were like multiple deepfake videos on a video call. Convinced the guy to basically, transfer $25 million. So, yeah, I mean, we're really just beginning to see what's possible with AI deception. I think we ain't seeing nothing yet. But at Palisade, we're trying to explore sort of what's possible with current technology, and can we forecast a little bit where this might be going? So I showed you a bit of like, hey, how would you try to discredit someone who's maybe promoting AI safety? But you can sort of build whatever kind of narrative you want. Let's say you wanted to try to discredit people who were trying to accelerate AI development.
Humans will be replaced by their evolutionary forks in the matter configuration space, causal DAG, one way or another. I don't discriminate between biological, non-biological, or hybrid descendants.
If human extinction leads to a future where our creativity and ideas live on through AGI, do we still view that as a loss?
So none of those people really said those things, except Beth Jesus. He did tweet that. but other than him, none of those people said those things. And what's interesting is that we didn't even write those words. And we also didn't even make the voice models ourselves. What we did do is we created a program that automates the whole process, from background research to finding audio clips, breaking out audio clips. All we do is we give a name and we get out a voice model. So I want to show you a little bit how this actually works. So in this case, we're going to be targeting Beth Barnes, our friend at Meter. And so we're going to start, and basically our system does a little bit of research, finding out things about Beth Barnes on the web, and writes a dossier, just like, sort of biographical information about Beth. This is the OSINT step. So once we have that, then we need to find actual audio samples so that we can clone her voice. So we look for a podcast, but the thing is, a lot of Beth Barnes on the internet aren't the Beth we're looking for, and so the model's comparing the summary of the podcast with our dossier. Cool, we found the right Beth Barnes. So now that we have that, we make a transcript, and we basically need to annotate which parts are Beth speaking and which parts are the other people in the podcast. Now that we have that, we can actually break apart the audio clips that are just Beth speaking, and then cool, we take that, upload that to a service like 11 Labs, and there you go.
This is Beth Barnes. I lead research at Meter.
So the thing about this you can do this all manually too, but the way we did it, it really enables you to scale these kinds of attacks for quite cheap. So this took us one engineer less than 2 weeks to make this whole thing. And once it was built, so we actually did a little test where we put in 100 names of popular sort of public figures, and we were able to get out 80 voices. And this marginal cost was $1.50 per voice. And running the system end to end only took 35 minutes to get all 80 of those voices. And at some point, it starts to get really unsettling.
Look, when it comes to artificial intelligence, people tend to get wrapped up in dystopian fantasies that have no basis in reality. The truth is, AI systems are just tools.
You know, a lot of
Complex,
folks are
yes,
ringing
but
alarm
ultimately
bells
tools
about
that humans
artificial
have created and
intelligence,
control.
claiming it's a
We
Pandora's
design their
box
parameters, we
that, once
input their data,
opened, could
and we
lead
manage
to
their
when it comes to
integration
artificial
into society.
intelligence,
In my
I
view,
truly
the
believe
However,
that
from
time
my
is going
perspective,
to
the
allow
benefits
us
clearly outweigh the potential risks.
We live in a world where
talk about artificial
AI has
intelligence.
advanced
We're discussing
AI
a pivotal tool that enhances our capabilities every day. As a society, we've managed to integrate
So I find this a little unsettling. And I was trying to think about like what is actually unsettling about this. Like we all know that this capability exists. And I think it's that it used to be the case that you could actually trust voices. Like if you heard a voice, you're pretty sure that like that's actually the person speaking, whether it's on the phone or on the internet. And that's just not the case anymore. Like we now have an AI capability that means that we just can't trust voices if we don't have another way to verify who it is. And it's not that I think that like voice cloning in particular is that powerful, but it's more of like what kind of general deception capabilities do AI systems enable? So I've like worked as a pen tester before, and my job involved like calling out people and basically telling people like, you know, hey, I need to reset my password. I've blocked out my account, and this is just like very effective. Like you can just like trick a lot of people this way if you sort of know the right information and you have some skill. And so people have tried to automate this before with like phishing and like robocalls, but the success rate is pretty low. But we're now getting to the point where a lot of those human capabilities you can now replicate, and it's not going to stop there. I think we have to look at the possibility that like all of the things that humans can do right now, in terms of everything, but in this case deception, in not too many years, you know, maybe one, maybe two, we'll have AI systems that can do all of this. But also it's not going to stop there, right? So just like with Go, you know, you sort of have a few months where like, oh, it's like actually at human parity. And then beyond that, you get to see like no humans can beat AI systems at Go anymore. And I think we'll get there with deception as well. And then there's an interesting question of like, what happens to society if we have superhuman persuader AI systems or superhuman deceptive AI systems? And I don't think anyone really knows the answer to that question. But maybe we shouldn't find out. So I'm at the end of time, but basically I think we can do a lot for these current capabilities, like these deepfake things. There's like a lot of like identity stuff we can do. Come talk to me if you want to talk about countermeasures. But I think as we're looking towards these human level and superhuman level systems, we really have to think about what red lines do we not want to cross, and like actually have common knowledge about some capabilities we may not want to develop. Because I think without that legibility, it's pretty unlikely we'll be able to coordinate to prevent that. So thanks for that.
Okay, we have time for a question. Yes.
Too, I'm terrified by what I'm seeing here. I look at countries like Russia where it's not illegal to hack people as long as you're not hacking anyone within Russia or Belarus or certain IP addresses. So given that we know that this sort of technology is going to be used in other countries, what good will countermeasures here do to stop this? Will that not just create a tilted scale where the only people using this are using it, you know, against countries that they don't like?
Well, there's like two different countermeasures. There's countermeasures on the side of like trying to put guardrails around models, and then there's countermeasures in terms of what are things we can do as a society to defend ourselves. So like the societal defenses should apply no matter who's attacking you. So that's like, you know, better identity verification. So if you get a call, like, do you know who's calling you? I think those kinds of defenses are going to be useful regardless of who the attacker is.
All right, awesome. Well, more in the breakouts afterwards. Thank you so much, Jeff.